Going to call the meeting of June 16th, Ways and Means Committee meeting to order. I have in presence Councilor Granas, who's on the committee, and Council President Sambudo. And first up, just to give you a quick synopsis, what we're looking for is basically just to come up, give us, basically it's spelled out very good. I want to thank all you people for the way you broke down your goals, your missions, and everything else. So it's self-explanatory to us, but if you just give us a brief runoff for the, for the public, I'd appreciate it. And then if council have any questions, if there are any changes in your budget, which I'm looking out here, I don't see changes in any of your budgets really, just bring those up. So I appreciate it. Michael, yeah, first, recreational services.
Hi, how are you, Council? How are we doing today? Very quickly, I think you guys, well, thank you for having me, and I think you received my packet in the mail. So we're looking forward to another great summer. And again, via the packet, there's a lot of extensive stuff that we've done. Just so the people know, we've added Tuesday night neighborhood dinners. We're going to each ward. And this year's, for us, it was all wrapped around community and how many community things that we can get and continue to bring people together for the city. So I didn't ask for a whole lot in the budget. Looks like it's pretty much level funded.
Michael, thank you. Councilor Granas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Certainly, I received the packet over the weekend, and I had the opportunity to review it. And I know I'm part and parcel to the outing that we're going to have in Ward 3 in August, and I'm very pleased that that's taking place. After reviewing the packet, Michael, it shows a lot of hard work and dedication from you and your staff in terms of trying to provide a great and safe summer for our children. I think if anybody picks up that packet, they would be more than pleased to know that they live within our city and that these are things that are available for our children. It's certainly a credit to you, Michael, for bringing forward such a great program. And Revere has a tradition of somewhat of doing these nice things for our city during the summer months, because we've heard in the past so many times that, there aren't any things for kids to do. Well, we are given many opportunities for their children to get involved, and what we're looking forward to through the efforts of your staff and you, get the parents involved also with their children to bring forward a great, safe summer for all our kids. And so, given the financial conditions you've been given to work with, and that there's really no way to cut anything, if in fact we could probably help you out and give you more money. But you seem to have put forward a great package with what you have to work with, so it's a great credit to you and your staff. It means a lot to us as councilors when we go and talk to our constituents, and they're not griping about any situation. They're saying, wow, this is pretty good. And all we have to do now is bring this program. We know about it, the city council knows about it, and there are some people obviously that have these packets. We have to let the rest of the community, we have to make a public awareness of what is happening this summer for our kids. And once that's displayed and shown, I think everybody will be very pleased as to how their tax dollar is being spent in the recreational department, because it certainly shows a good effort to help our kids.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's part of what we're doing. It's part of our goals to be out there on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, wherever we can kind of promote. This flyer is now going out to about 18,000 people. 7,500 went out to schools, to the kids that get to bring home. We also put the flyer in the Revere Journal, which will be another 7,200. So we're out there as much as humanly possible, and that's what we're doing. Some of our events over the past year have been the largest events that we've ever had, including 4th of July, and I'm sure you guys were part of the Christmas bonanza that was out there, and that might have been the largest ever. So we are getting out to people, and we're doing it. We're doing it.
Well, that's a credit to you and your staff, and certainly we're all thankful for that. You know, it certainly helps us all to have a safer city, especially during the trying months of the heat of the summer. People's tempers aren't what they should be, and so you've got them in a nice stage to show that we're taking care of your children.
Thank you, Councilor.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilor. Also, Councilor Marabito has just joined us. Councilor Zambudo.
Thank you, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to congratulate Michael for a great job since you've taken over. You've made some wonderful improvements. We're thrilled. There's obviously not enough money in this budget for what we need to do for our children in the city. We're all hopeful we're going to get some good news in the next couple of months and maybe get a new youth center, and some great stuff will be happening. So I just want to commend you for the hard work you put in. I know how hard you work down there and your staff, and keep up the good work. Thank you
very much. Thank you, Councilor.
And we also have joined us Councilor Patch, also on the committee. Any other councilors? Seeing here none. Michael, like I said, keep up the good work. Arthur touched on just about everything, and I'm not going to repeat what he said. And I got that packet also this week. You're doing a lot of work and a lot of additions to down there, and hopefully someday, I know the mayor has a dream of building a new youth center, and hopefully that happens. But thank you. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very much. And just in closing, I didn't get to touch on, if you haven't been down to the rec center, come down. There are more improvements every day. The place looks great. So, and it's really helped us with that increased participation that we were looking for. So we have a lot of people coming in and out of the building now, actually using our services more than ever before. So thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, prior to him leaving, I just want to make also known that Michael Hinojosa is one heck of a golfer. I had the privilege of playing with him during the Chamber golf tournament, and Michael was I was on his team, and he was great.
I'm sure you made him look better than he was, too. Council Patch has a question for you, Michael.
Actually, I'm going on, thank you, Mr. Chairman, on the line of, you might be a good golfer, but what an announcer. You and Peter Giulio live, the girls' softball game. It was, what a game. It was unbelievable. What a season. Your daughter's a great athlete. They're like the rest of the girls on the team. I tell you, it was what a year for them.
Well, I think it's a wild ride. It really, it's funny because it ties into the rec center stuff. What we're trying to do, it's about community. You know, what we had, that little parade out there today. That's what it's about. It's about making this, special place to live, and the girls' softball team really helped promote that for us. So
They certainly did.
Yeah.
Good job.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Michael.
Gentlemen, have a great day. Thank you.
Now, next up, we'll have elderly affairs. Steve.
Hello, councilors.
Steve, just want to, looking at your budget, I can see you asked for a couple $1,000 and you can get it, so
That's all
it's
right.
not much to look at. But if you just give us a quick, brief analysis.
In the last 8 months, we've tried to totally change the culture down there, and we're going to carry that through 2015. There's 3 things that we need to focus on and make sure that we enhance it in a better fashion and improve, and that is the meals, the program that we offer, the transportation we offer, and the programs and services. The other thing that we want to do is to ensure that we become more community oriented, trying to open up the facility to other groups in the city, and to attract more seniors through the Office of New Revere Residents as well. We have a very, very dedicated staff. I have to say, I'm very blessed with that staff. They're very passionate about seniors. And as you know, when you're dealing one-on-one with seniors or even as a group, they are a different breed, that's for sure. They're wonderful people. They deserve a lot, and we do try to provide them with the top-notch services that we can, despite the budget. It's hard to run a facility like this because there's only 4 of us that are part-time, and we have 6 that are contractual. And I think that we do a pretty good job, and I think that over the last, well, I've been there almost a year, which is hard to believe. We've totally changed the culture of the center, and things are looking up, I have to say that.
Councilor Granacci.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Certainly, we just had Mike, who takes care of the youth, and now we have Steve, who takes care of the elder citizens, and which is this is the two important ingredients of within our community. And certainly, the seniors are a mainstay of our livelihood. You offer, again, you offer out a program to us, and we get that monthly, and it gives us a description as to what's taking place for that particular month. Again, it's very informative. It gives us an update exactly what's taking place at that location and the many activities that you have provided for within the program for these elder citizens. And again, it's just that people out of this community have to understand and see what we see firsthand, the two types of departments that are being run by our city, paying from city money, from our money generated from taxpayers, to show them what we're doing with your money. And it's a great testimony as to what's taking place. And I like the wording in your preface of your comments where you said that you want to reach out to other seniors who aren't going to the center per se, but yet are seniors and want to be part of that activity. I think that's a great gesture to reach out to them, to let them be more aware and not be afraid to go to the center, that it's a friendly place to go to, and it's a nice place to go.
It is, and you know, there's a lot of younger seniors, and obviously a lot of them are working longer these days, because they have to. So we're starting to offer other programs at night if we can, and we started that Zumba class. It seems like a small thing, but it's open to all ages, and it's been very successful over the last month. And you know, with a budget like this, you have to try to think of creative ways to fund these things and pay instructors, and that is a fee-based per class instructional exercise class. So it works out well.
I saw some of the charges that you offer out to some of these events, and they're very minimal. Yeah. And you know, I think that they should be pretty much affordable by all. And I'm sure that if there are some seniors that you're aware of that can't meet that, I'm sure we could take care of them and somehow, knowing that they deservedly should be there too. But again, this is an opportunity for us to express our gratitude to you and your program. If there was something going along the way that we weren't really happy with, we would have let you know that long ago. I certainly, when the mayor had his transition team, I was part of the Elder Affairs program to make sure that the continuity of the different administrations carry forward and even improve upon what we did last, and I think we're doing that. I think we're doing everything in the right vein for our seniors, and again, it's a compliment to you and your staff, and all those who go to the senior center. They should tell the rest of the seniors out there, welcome them. You know, sometimes people are very apprehensive to do change, and especially when you get older, but there's an opportunity for our seniors to get involved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Arthur. Steve, I just want to touch on one thing Arthur said, that, you know, seniors are one people that really don't like change. And when the mayor picked you to go down there, and I know some seniors down there, besides the workers and the people that visit every day, you know, they had a little fear. But I tell you, I think after having you there for the past year, I hear nothing but compliments. And that's a compliment to you and your hard work that you put in for the seniors.
Thank you.
I want to thank you for the council on that, too. But thank you for coming, and hopefully we can do more next year.
All right, thank you.
All right, Steve. Janine, Consumer Affairs, I think 2:30, what is it?
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Janine.
Pretty much no changes in our office. What do I do? You can't hear me? Can you hear me now? Okay. We're continuing to do the work that we set out to do, and that's helping consumers with issues with businesses. This last year, we resolved successfully 362 complaints, and we saved the consumers, or recovered $166,000 for different, you know, whatever. And that's about it. I mean, we're doing what we can. I wish we had more help down there, but maybe sometime in the future that can be a reality.
Councilor Granasso.
Thank you, Mr. President. Janine, just a quick, for the
Yep.
conversation's sake and for the home viewers to hear this also, what type of services do you provide? You said there was 166,000
Okay.
claims. What
Yeah.
type of claims
What
do you
we
help
do
the
is-
citizens with?
Okay, if an individual has a complaint against a business, whether it's a store, a car dealership, home improvement, anything where you feel that you've been scammed or whatever. So sometimes they come in, you give them a contractor will come in, you give them the money, they never come back and finish, you come to us. If we can, we try to get your money back for you, and that's what we do.
No, it's a very important
Right.
program, 'cause
And
I-
dealerships, car dealerships, that's.
Great.
Yeah.
I think, again, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, I think, again, that this is a service that a lot of people are unaware that are provided by our community, and it's a very important piece of information that they can help with. And mostly, the senior citizens, they don't want to challenge anything, even though they know something's wrong and incorrect. And that's why I think more awareness of that you do exist, you and your staff, and however, to try to rectify the situation. Doing something about it is more than doing nothing. And I think
What we're
that,
trying to do right now is to have an outreach, so
Right.
that we can educate the people before they do get scammed.
Right.
And we're actually having July 16th, I believe, or 15th, in front of City Hall, a consumer shred day, /shred day. And there'll be state agencies, such as Division of Banks, Division of Licensors, Division of Standards. They'll be there to give out information. If any of you people have questions, come down. If you have, you're allowed two or three boxes if you want things shredded. So that's what we're trying to do.
that's good. That's good
Yeah.
information.
Yeah.
Thank you, Janine. Thank you,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilor Granasso. I just want to recognize Councilor Gino, who's not on the committee, but I want to thank her for coming. Councilor Zambudo had a question?
I just, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to congratulate Janine on her hard work down there. I've had occasion to have people use her services down there, and she's very professional and knows how to get things done. And it is a tough business because there's so many, especially seniors, being scammed by these sharpies that are out there preying on senior citizens. That she's got her hands full, but I know she works hard on it. And keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilor Morabito. Gino,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Councilor Morabito has a question for you.
Hi, Janine.
Hi.
I was wondering, is there a lot of awareness being out there for the new student loan forgiveness scam?
Yeah, there is, and we do, if people want answers to that, I'm not really all that up on it, but there is, if they have questions, call the office, and I can kind of, send them in the right direction. Boston is doing a lot on all the different, loans and all that stuff with the loans. I'm not really sure on exactly. I don't want to say anything unless I'm positive.
Thank you, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, but
And you've
they-
always been helpful whenever I had a question. Keep up the great job.
Yeah, I will look into that further, but there is. They just set up a whole department just on the student loans, and they are going to have a meeting coming up. They will have some speaker on it. So we'll be learning more and more about all that. Yeah, as soon as I do, I'll learn it. I'll bring it to the.
Excellent, thank you.
Okay.
Gene, I just want to thank you, too, from City Council's standpoint on, and I have to touch on it a couple times that, we keep hearing as a council that, our taxes are high and everything else. But if you sat down and told them everything we give them, and unfortunately, each department is short-handed as it is, and we have these services. A lot of cities and towns don't have some of these services that we do. And the work that you do, I know you were shorthanded, and hopefully more business come in the city and stuff like that, that we can fund some of these departments a little better. But I've known you, I've been in your office several times, and you're perfect for that job. You have the tenement for it and everything else, and the taxpayers are grateful. Thank you very much.
And we do take care of 11 cities, so.
11 cities on top of it, yeah. Well, that's why the education, half your money is paid by grant money, and the other half's paid by the taxpayers. Taxpayers getting their money's worth out of you.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Thank you very much. Okay, any library director?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Revere Public Library provides access to materials for recreational and educational use, both print and electronic, not only for the collection housed in the Revere Public Library, but through all of the Northern Boston Library Exchange, and even beyond throughout the state of Massachusetts. We also offer discount museum passes, a lot of students take advantage of, Museum of Science, Children's Museum, the New England Aquarium. We offer lots of kids programs, Spanish language classes, story times, craft projects around the holidays. And we also have the most patron use computers of any noble public library. So our library is being used a lot, and we're in the process now of a strategic planning process so that we can file a program with this plan with the state that will enable us to qualify for grant money.
Thank you very much. Councilor Granassa.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. With this new technology that we now cannot refer to new, it's an old technology now that we're fully engulfed in, do you see a decline in people coming to the library to read books? Not use technical, just read books, get books?
That's hard to say because sometimes, yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. I don't have any hard data on that. But the other thing is people read books. The things online are actually similar to books. They're only on a tablet, for example. Contrary to what some people might think, an electronic book isn't something you can keep forever. When you borrow something through our system called Overdrive, you have 3 weeks with it, and then poof, it's gone. So
I know when going to the Revere High School and in the elementary schools also, whenever I went to the library, it was usually to look up something and a type of concern that I have and where to look for it. In the old days, it was an encyclopedia. Now we can Google it and get it within 8 seconds. And I'm sure that every youngster out there can do that.
That's actually another common misconception. A lot of it is you can find on Google, but a lot of the authoritative information you have to pay for through databases. So, for example, when I was in junior high, I had to go to the Reader's Guide of Periodical Literature and look. If I was doing something on smoking, I would look up time and I'd see how many articles. Now that's done on computer, but you still have to pay for that subscription for the authoritative, the good, solid information.
And in terms of people coming in to use the facility altogether, have you seen in the tenure of your short period of time, what type of flow do you say?
That's a good question. I've only been here a year, so I don't have much data to go back on, but I will say that the library space is probably my biggest challenge because regardless of print or electronic, it's a small library.
Yeah.
There isn't, we don't have a lot of comfortable couches like I've seen in other libraries. Stacks of magazine racks. Our space presents a lot of challenges. So I would say a lot of people who do come in, they use our computing facilities. Some do sit down and read or do homework, especially a lot of the kids do homework.
Yeah, because I see that also that you have competition from, namely like bookstores, Barnes & Noble on Route 1 in Saugus. For instance, you see people reading books, having a cup of coffee, and normally what they would be doing, they would be going to a library for this type of activity. They go into Barnes & Noble and, and they do have access to read the books for free. And so it's a very comfortable environment. So you have a a lot of competition out there, and I was just wondering if she's still getting a decent draw.
I do believe it is. It really is. Not only because of the program, but because of the computing facilities. And one of the things I plan to do is get some iPads and Kindle Fires and things like that so that people can become acquainted with it. They can check them out and decide whether or not they'd like to purchase them.
So you do offer that type of
I'm
activity?
applying for a grant through the Comcast to get the iPads.
That'd be great. Yeah, because there are a lot of people out there probably interested in it, but yet are fearful of learning how to do it.
Right.
And I'm talking not about the kids. They could pick that up when they're 2 years old. I'm talking about the older citizens that are just doing the old-fashioned way like I did and read the book and then have to learn all this new technology. And I'm very lucky I learned some of it, but not all of it. And that's why I have kids. And they tell me what to do. So
well, I will say to everybody who thinks that senior citizens are not technologically savvy, the two gentlemen who maintain our computers are retired senior citizens, and this is their
well,
job now.
I have quite a few senior citizen friends that are very, very good on the internet and in the technology world, and it's much to their credit, And I find that more power to them because that's today's world and it's tomorrow's world.
I'll actually put in a plug for senior citizens, especially those who travel. With electronic books, like I said, when the 3 weeks expire, they're gone, so you don't have to worry about any overdue fines. If you want large print, all you have to do is put your fingers on the screen and whoop, zoom it up, and you have large print.
Yeah,
so
I'm very
they're
fortunate.
Great devices. I encourage anyone who's watching to explore them and keep your eyes on the Senior Center and on the library because we'll be trying to offer education on those devices.
I'm very, very lucky because I work locally and my son is there with me sometime and I have his ability, which he's a computer person, and so I'm never in a major problem, but I know some of my colleagues in the same field that I'm in have a problem, but I don't because I have my son, so I'm very fortunate. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I could use that on larger, like press some buttons. That would be nice. Councilor Janino.
Thank you. I think that was a great point you brought up about the databases, and I wasn't aware that we had that in Revere because I know just finishing up college, a lot of the higher level high school classes and all college classes require you to use peer-reviewed journal articles and such when you are doing research papers and stuff like that. So does Revere have subscriptions to databases like EBSCO or like just for the college people and high school students out there that might not know, because I never knew that. So that's great information.
We certainly do. A lot of them are actually available through the state and we don't even have to pay for them. But some of them we have to pay subscription services too. And unfortunately right now I'm revamping the library website, but right now, if anyone's looking for them, they're buried under library programs. The website's terrible, but just there's so many things to do that I haven't been able to devote the attention that it needs, but hopefully this summer. And hopefully it'll be done in maybe 2 or 3 weeks.
Thank you. Councilor Marabito. Thank you, Councilor Giano.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a couple of questions pertaining to hardcover books. Do you still order them?
Yes.
Which line item do they come under?
Library materials.
Okay.
Oh, no, sorry, library supplies. Yes. That would be the third one from the bottom.
Now, how do you handle the inventory control? How do you manage it?
That's tough. Well, we have a profile with the publishers so that the most popular authors come automatically. We don't have to waste the time of saying we want the next one, we want the next one. So they just come to us and we pay for them. Others, we just do, we look at reviews and things like that. We get counts from North and Boston Library Exchange. They'll say 5 or 6 Revere patrons want this book and you only have 1 copy, so we can order another one. Things like that. The challenge for me with the small library space is we only can fit so many of them. So especially this year, I've spent a lot of time on electronic things that are available 24/7, especially since Revere High School kids have iPads now. I know that they have access. I've tried to run a report to see a list of things that haven't circulated in the last 3 years. And unfortunately, a lot of them just aren't on the shelves. Now, I don't know if they've just haven't been returned, but I suspect that they were not properly weeded. And unfortunately, as everyone in the room probably knows, there hasn't been a lot of continuity in the library for the past, 5 years. You know better than I how long. So there's a little bit of cleanup to be done, but
So out of the library supplies, how much would you say you spend on hardcovers on a yearly basis? Rough estimate.
Well, this past year, it's been about, I don't know, 2,000 a month, I'd take a guess. But this year, I'll be joining the Massachusetts Higher Education Consortium, which offers through our two biggest suppliers up to a 45% discount.
Okay. Now, can you keep, is there a way that you track how many books are coming in and out so how many books are generally rented? Well, they're not rented, but basically taken out of the library on a yearly
I haven't
basis?
run monthly statistics. The yearly statistic from last year escapes my mind. This morning I came from a conference, a seminar on state aid down in Middleborough, and I think it was like 35,000, I'm not sure, or 49,000.
In
the
Revere?
numbers per year. The numbers are kind of hazy. I mean, I don't have that on paper, but I'd be happy to get back to you.
Oh, absolutely. And also in library supplies, does that include electronics?
Yes, it does.
Computers, software upgrades?
No, it's anything. The general rule that I've been following is, or that is followed is, if you consume it as a library patron. So even kids, when they come for a craft and they use construction paper and glitter and they take it home, then that's a library supply. The electronics, the things that you access with the computers are the library materials, but the computers themselves are just capital equipment or hardware.
Okay. Also, there's a line item that says other services. What does that entail?
That's primarily technological things. One of the things I want to do this year is enable people to reserve those passes online. And the first startup cost, the first year of that would be $1,400 a year, and then $600, $700 a year after that. There's also a technology package called LibGuides that a lot of academics and a lot of publics now are using. That allows, it's a web-based service that allows the library to create a guide for, let's say, ESL learners. Here's all the things that the library does to help ESL learners with links both to our resources and outside. It's kind of like, I guess you'd call it an electronic user's guide, things like that. Also, this year I'd like to get a patron counter with a beam across the door, and that would come out of this budget. So that I can count how many people come in and out every month, or every day.
Excellent. One more question. Actually, I have two more questions. On building maintenance and repair,
Yes.
in fiscal year 2014, you were allotted $3,800, and year to date it was $5,703. I noticed in the past it was basically a lot lower. You were given a lot lower. Why was there? What was the reason for the increase?
We had termites.
That's explainable. Is that situation controlled now?
It is. Actually, when they remulched, they came back, but the Orkin came back and solved the problem. A lot of people think the termites are in the mulch, but it's really the agitation of the ground that brings them up. But we have a green product called Centricon that it baits the termites and kills the colony.
Okay, and I believe that is all I have for right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Morabito. Councilor Granasso? Oh, you're all set? Councilor Morabito.
Sorry about that. One more question. How much revenue, I know it's not a lot, but is the library receiving? For instance, copies? Because I don't see a line item for any revenue.
Let's see here. I think last year it was something like $6,000 for the whole year. It comes and goes. Tax season sometimes people are printing out more, but sometimes when I bring the money from the library to the treasurer's office, it's about $30 or $50 from the previous day. Sometimes a lot. It can be as low as 5 or 10, but it fluctuates. I don't have an accurate number, but I think last year, the previous year, we had I think 5,000 or 6,000 from printing and copying, and I think library fines that are paid to the city go straight to the general ledger.
Okay. So that 6,000 in revenue is just put back into the budget,
Right, I believe so.
but there's no line item for that revenue. And I think in the future, when we do the budget, we should have them include the revenue because it is a department that brings in money. So I think that would be very helpful. That's just a suggestion.
I'd see it more as a cost recovery because I think especially what happens, unfortunately, a lot of people, they print by mistake and, we don't, it's 25 cents a page, so we don't want to hit them for making mistakes. And I'm not sure exactly if we're making all the money back that we're spending on toner, but yes, we do get money for it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Morabito. Seeing here no other councils, thank you for coming and keep up the good work.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. With that being said, we've heard from all the department heads. If somebody else would like to hear from another one, I could schedule another meeting, but I honestly would like to take this vote up on the budget on the 23rd, which is next week. So if anybody wants to discuss anything now or have any cuts now, and if they don't, and I know there's a lot of councilors on here, that I would appreciate if the clerk could send them an email and just ask if they have any cuts. Try to get them to you within the next 3 days so we can get them, and I'll schedule a meeting probably about, unless it looks different, I'll call the clerk up, but I don't see where many cuts are going to come from. So if I don't see many cuts from emails, we'll take a vote on the budget the 23rd, but I will have a meeting 15 minutes before the committee meeting on the 23rd. And I'll open up the discussions, everybody. Councilor Granasso.
Mr. Chairman, based on some of what you just said, and I referred to this earlier this evening when we were speaking, I think that you've been generous enough to have and provide these particular meetings. In fact, if some of the membership can't make these meetings, they were had the opportunity to voice concerns to you or any member of the subcommittee who was meeting. I think it's being more than fair to allow that the comments be made prior to the closing of Thursday, which is a day that last day we get our minutes in for the getting ready for the Monday meeting, and that's by ordinance the way our set of rules. So I think it's fair if anyone has any decisions that they want to change and challenges that they be submitted by them, and giving them the opportunity to express their views. I think that the budget that was submitted to us by His Honor the Mayor has been more than fair and as lean as possible that we could possibly do. We could refer back to some of the prior tactics was done by a couple of councilors years ago, and we can cut $1 million from the Blue Cross Blue Shield and the health, and then we're going to have to add it back in because we know we have to do that. That's all semantics and theatrics as far as I'm concerned. That doesn't have any substance. We know we have to pay for health insurance, and we know what we have to do. We have it all in front of us as it appears right now. Do we all wish it was less? Of course we do. But do we all wish that city services are maintained and kept in a fashion that we do now? Of course we do. Being a ward councilor, I experienced many telephone calls that required city services. I'm pleased to say that most departments, the people that call, they get a favorable response. Sometimes, not quick enough, but they do get a response. And I think maybe in the upcoming months, when possibly things get better in the financial structure within our community, that we should be looking forward to additional personnel in the police department. We should be looking for additional personnel in the Department of Public Works. I mean, those are two departments that solely need more help to get better services provided for our citizens. I'm glad to say, and I feel very comfortable with the staffing of the fire department. It seems that everything's going well and they're handling things well. I think that maybe we could also look for the future in terms of the fire department, that we purchase a SUV, load that up with medical apparatus that we need, and assign maybe a fire EMT to that sector, because 60% or higher of our calls are for medical needs. So there's some of the things that we can discuss, and This budget is presented to us now, and we will work and live with this budget. But I think that's something that we can work upon, what is on the mayor for the future if things appear to be more favorable. We had a new growth of 550,000. We're looking to triple that very soon and even quadruple that. So there are things that are in place for our city to look in a very, very positive vein, in a very, very positive manner. And you just heard testimony from two very, very important departments within our community, Elder Affairs and Recreational Services were provided by Mike Hoster and his crew. These are very important parts of our government that provide work and opportunity for our kids and our seniors to have a fruitful life, to go into and do better things with their lives. And so the city is providing that. And I can't say enough of that. I don't think enough people out there realize these type of things take place, and they're there for us. Then we had the Consumer Affair Director here. I bet there's a lot of people out there that don't know we have that service that's provided for them. So there's a lot of opportunity here that we've done some good things for our citizens, and I am very, very pleased to say that I don't look to cut anything from this budget because I feel comfortable with it. In fact, if I had the opportunity, I could probably add to it, which I would like to do, but I know we can't afford it. So that's why I'm praying for good things to happen in the next couple of months that will give us the opportunity to come up with all these brain ideas that cost money, but yet make a better citizen and make a better city for our community. And that's all we can do, Mr. Chairman.
Council, very well said. I mean, when I got this budget several weeks ago, I went through it several times, quickly the first time and probably quicker the second time. And as we held these hearings with every department head up here, there's probably the least amount of questions I heard asked. There's a reason for it. I mean, I look at the mayor, I mean, poor Elderly Affairs was here and he asked for $5,000. You know, it's not easy being a balancing act here and saying no. I mean, and of course, we can't add to the budget. And of course, we probably added, some council might add $10 million, but who knows? But we know that's impractical. But I do give the mayor, I see the mayor is going to come to the podium and say a few words in a minute, but it's a very lean budget. It's probably the leanest I've ever seen, so it made it actually easy for us. I mean, there's nothing even to look at there to cut. You know, and I think there was one council brought up a cut of, they seen something was a typo. I mean, that's how lean this budget is. And, you know, this council's aware of that. And you know, this is the year that, you know, and to Mayor Rizzo's credit, I mean, he had all these union negotiations pushed off the last couple of years. And contractual agreements came here and, you know, he did an excellent job with it. I honestly was scared to see this budget during the course of the past 12 months, knowing with the water consent and, you know, the different things that the contractual agreements, and to me, it's incredible that how the water rates, I mean, 2.29% going up. I mean, what we spent. I mean, it's a credit to the mayor, credit to this council. I mean, the council is the Overwatch, you know, but I mean, the mayor doesn't make us look too good. There's nothing to cut, Mayor. I mean, you really give a lean budget. But it's a credit to everybody in the city working together and, you know, and holding our breath for brighter days. But, you know, we have to go forward and you know, we have to live what we got. And it's the mayor who has the biggest balancing act there is. It's very easy for us to say, spend this, and he didn't spend enough, and that's why this ain't done. Everybody can point fingers all over the place, but that's the easiest thing to do. But, you know, he sits in that chair and says no probably to 99% of the people, because Councilor Grenache, you said it. I look at this thing, and I could add to every single department here. But, you know, reasonable minds will tell you you just don't have it, and it's a balancing act. And Paul Dakin is going to come up here, the superintendent of schools, very shortly. We don't have any say in that. And, you know, and the other thing that I will say with not the funding that we could fund all these departments, and all the department heads, I will say one thing. I give them credit. They put extra time, effort, and, you know, to do a better job with less. So, I mean, I see them out there. I see them on weekends. I see them here at night. I come by sometimes at night. You know, you see the city hall open, and to the mayor's credit. They don't run up there saying, I need more money. They just want to do a good job and provide good services. And hopefully someday we can reward them. But Councilor Morabito, I'll let each councilor speak to the mayor. I'll take the podium. Councilor Morabito.
I also would like to commend the mayor. Mr. Mayor, I've been cutting budgets and reacting to revenue for 18 years as a manager working at Johnny's Food Master. And I know the ins and outs of what it takes to cut budgets, to react to inventory control. And I went through these line items, and most of the departments are getting a cut. I went out and I spoke to majority of the department heads. A lot of them requested more money. The mayor refused because it's just not in there. We just do not have the financial means. I'm not telling anyone anything they don't already know. But being a new counselor, one thing what I've learned is that there are so many things that we have no control over and are mandated. And a lot of the citizens out there think we can just simply cut school budgets or union budgets. There are certain things that we have to do within legal mindset, and things are mandated. And I just wanted to point that out. And the budget is trimmed. It's skinny.
Thank you, Councilor Morabito. Any other councilors? Council President, Councilor Bruto.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to take a minute to thank you for your deliberations on this budget. You handled it professionally, and it really showed the brilliance of my pick for you to be chairman of Ways and Means. And I am truly grateful for your hard work, and I know that you take this very seriously and that you've gone through every inch of this budget. And it's true, there's no hidden pockets of money in this budget, and the mayor went through a lot of trouble to lay it out in a wonderful way. And I'll throw a bouquet at you, Mr. Mayor, for the way the budget is set up this year. It's new and innovative, and I really appreciate it, and I'm sure my colleagues do. So I just, again, want to thank you, Councilor Penta, for being a wonderful chairman of Ways and Means. Thank you.
Thank you for that. I don't know, Mayor, leave it up to you. The superintendent's here.
I'm just going to be very brief.
That's...
So, if it's okay with the superintendent.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. Members of the council, thank you. I know I wasn't scheduled to speak, so I appreciate the latitude here. I just wanted to bring up a couple of things, only because I couldn't make a couple of the meetings, but naturally I followed them, and just want to clarify some points. But before I do, Mr. Chairman, I just want to say how grateful that I am in the way that you treated all of my department heads during these hearings. You know, I know it's not your first time chairing Ways and Means. It's probably about your 10th. But, you know the budget, you know the numbers, you know where to look. Councilor Mirabito actually made some very, very interesting points. And as he was talking, I was reflecting back to when I was first on the city council, because I came like Councilor Mirabito, like Councilor Mirabito did from the private sector. And I thought, why can't you cut 10% off the budget? Come on, there's got to be a way to, and it really is. When you start to look at the numbers and you start to look at what's contractual, you start to look at, what's mandated. We're all familiar with the term net school spending. So there's a lot of things in there that you really wouldn't know unless you're sitting on that side where you guys are right now. So, and it can be difficult when you're reliant upon just tax dollars that you can generate, which obviously were limited by Proposition 2.5, and what you get in local aid from the state that doesn't seem to rise as rapidly as our expenses do. It always is a juggling act. So
I know Councilor Guanasso talked about the potential for more new growth, and that's clearly our goal, is to create as much new growth as we can, because ultimately, long-term, our goal is to take a lot of the burden off of the residential taxpayers and put it on commercial taxpayers. And we do have, nothing moves quickly, unfortunately, but we do have a lot of irons in the fire, and my hope is over the next year, 2, 3, that we'll really start to see some significant new commercial growth. This budget, as you all know, is going to come down to probably, a vote to use money out of our free cash. And I don't want to go back and rehash all the other cities and towns that use free cash to help balance their budget. I don't want to have to go back and rehash about how cities and towns use stabilization to meet their budget. These are things, when you have a rainy day fund, it's not necessarily an annuity. We're not looking to set people off on a retirement here. This is money that we save, that we have, so that we can continue to meet our expenses when needed. And unfortunately, Mr. Chairman, you had said you thought that you thought that it would be much worse, and quite honestly, I did too. But we were able to certify that close to $3.3 million of free cash last year, or back in December, and that is money that we can use this year now to help not have to have layoffs like they do in some surrounding cities, not have to dig as deeply into stabilization. In fact, our stabilization is actually going to grow from last year in spite of using this free cash. So, I know last year we actually had a councilor that voted against the utilization of stabilization funds, which actually was free cash, but we had to move it into stabilization, $1.5 million. Think about you guys right now. If you had to make $1.5 million of cuts, where are you going to cut? You're going to cut bodies is what you're going to cut, because where else, you're not going to cut. This year we had to absorb about $3.5 million as, I forget which one of you said, through collective bargaining. We had to settle about 5 or 6 different contracts. So these are stuff that we work together on, okay? And because of our collaboration, because of the work we've been able to do, we've received 2 consecutive bond upgrades. And now, we wouldn't get that if the bond rating authorities thought we were doing something that wasn't appropriate or wasn't right. So I'm going to be asking you, ultimately, to approve the use of $2.5 million, or a little over that, to balance this budget. And we're still going to put close to $300,000 into stabilization, and that should bring us up, to a healthier figure than we had last year. So, I don't want the message out there to be that we're spending money somehow that we don't have. We're trying to provide, we're working together, the council and the administration, to provide as good as services as we can for our residents within our means, within what the normal impact would be in any year with respect to taxes and with respect to local aid. So I want to thank you, Mr. Chairman, for your leadership. I want to thank the councilors that come up here, to listen to our department heads. I know Dr. Dakin is waiting patiently. He has done an incredible job. We're up to about 7,000 students, somewhere in there, and with a lot of different challenges. You've got a lot of ELA students and students with special needs, but nonetheless, we continue to win awards and accolades from not only across Massachusetts, but across the nation. As you know, Revere High School just named #1 in the nation by the National Center for Urban School Transformation. Incredible, 10,000 applications, and #1 was selected as Revere High School. So clearly, there's a lot of good things. The money that you're approving in these budgets, year in and year out, are obviously working and doing something very positive for the many children in our community. And also, we'd like to think we're providing pretty good services to the rest of our residents as well. So, Mr. Chairman, with that, I appreciate your indulgence. I appreciate you letting me have this opportunity. I know it was unscheduled, but I just wanted to have an opportunity because Unfortunately, when you vote on the budget on June 23rd, I'm not going to be able to be in attendance. I've asked my Director of Finance to be here, but I just wanted to let you know how I feel in terms of passing this budget with the money that we're requesting. Okay?
Mr. Mayor, thank you for that, but I think we all know here, in order not to pass the stabilization, $2.5 million, $32,345, that we would have to sit here and make every one of those cuts. So I don't know how that would be virtually impossible. But just to go back to something somebody said, and these are the numbers, the facts. In 2011, was left over when you took over as mayor, and nothing against your predecessor, but these are the facts. $1,244,428, not $2 million. It was said $2 million. Like I said, numbers don't lie. The next year, 2012, you went up more than double to $2.6 million. Then it actually went down a little. We used some. Now this year, it's going to estimate $3 million, the highest it's ever been in history of the city, using the $2.5 million. So that's a credit to this council, yourself, and everybody that's been involved in finance, the judge and zone, everybody. I mean, the free cash certificate this past year, June 30th, 2013, was $3,292,000. And that's where we're taking out the 2.5. So it's not like, we raided that fund. We knew there's free cash, and you said it here months ago that you'd be coming back to use this money. So it's not a hidden thing. And those are the facts. And Councilor Ganasso said it. Councilor Hass actually said it the best in one sentence, and it took me 3 minutes to say it, that if you didn't, there's cuts. End of story. It's not that you have the money there. You don't have an extra $4 or $5 million because everything's rosy and everything's status quo. It doesn't work that way. But and the school department's going to and they made this statement. I wish Mr. Dakin was here, the superintendent, Dr. Dakin, that we do with a lot less in this city. And the school department is an example of it. The different wards that they get throughout the year, I don't think people realize it. And the grants that Dr. Dakin writes in the school departments, and the money that offsets a lot of things that the taxpayers don't have to pay. And, we do a lot more in this city with less, and we're in a lot better shape than a lot of other cities. They may have $1 million more in stabilization fund, but they have more layoffs and everything else, and tax increases and everything. So there's a lot that goes to the formula. You don't have to be a rocket scientist. 1 and 1 is 2. And numbers, thank God numbers don't lie. You can misquote them. That you can do, but you can't make numbers lie. But with that, Council President Sambulo.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Unfortunately, I have another meeting and I'm going to have to leave. But so I'm not going to be here to give accolades to Dr. Dakin and everybody in the school department. But it's certainly. I was at a wonderful event this morning, and the mayor alluded to the #1 high school in the country. What more than that can you say? So I want to congratulate him and congratulate the mayor on a fine job, and the 2 bond upgrades that some of us know and been here a long time, never thought we'd see 2 bond ratings in a row upgraded. So congratulations. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you very much,
Great
Mr.
job.
Chairman. I really appreciate it. And I'll just close with this, if I could. I sat on that side with you guys for 12 years, and so I know what goes into this budget. I know what we have to look at and what we have to look for, but, I think the general public, and this is my perception, looking at it from in both directions, wants to see the City Council and the Mayor working together toward a common goal. You're never always going to, there may be differing opinions here and there, but when you work together, which I believe we have, certainly since I've been mayor, and I'd like to think with my predecessor, Mayor Ambrosino, we all work together to move the city ahead. And good things happen then. You see what happens in Congress when they don't work together, and nothing good happens, it seems. And that's why you have such a low approval rating, unfortunately, in Congress. And, personally, I think we have a terrific federal delegation. Our new Congresswoman Clark and Senators Markey and Warren, they are highly and well-regarded and well-respected, and I have a terrific working relationship with them. But it's tough. it's sad that they have to get lumped in with a process that's so bogged down, and we've been really the beneficiaries of pretty good working relationships with each other, and so when that happens, that's how you get these bond upgrades, and that's how you get significant amounts of free cash, and that's how you can actually continue to enhance services when you look at some of your neighbors who are looking at cuts. So I just want to thank you all for your hard work and your dedication, and appreciate the time.
Mayor, thank you very much. With that, my favorite superintendent in the state, Dr. Dakin, you're next. And just, I'm sure the councils do know, but for the edification of the public, we, as a city council, really have zero say in their budget, except for trying to give them money each year, which we have to, and we always give them the bare minimum, and Paul never cries and kicks his feet. He just goes out and gets more money and grants and everything else to make the system work. But Paul, just give us an overview of your department and how things are going.
Yeah, well, as you said, none of us have control over the school budget in essence. It's set by the state, so we have to live with it, whether we think it's too high or not enough. The state sets budgets since 1993 and tells us what we have to spend on schools. And we've managed with it, and I would venture to say that the reason why we've managed with it is because of teamwork. It's teamwork with our teachers, our teacher unions, it's teamwork with the school committee, and it's teamwork and partnership with you folks. The recent good tidings that have come to the school department relative to, some achievement awards are certainly linked to that teamwork ethic. And your piece of that sometimes goes unnoticed in that new buildings have an impact on education. And part of the improvement in what's happening in the Revere schools is certainly because of the effort of teachers and how they're taking to the Common Core and how they're following the latest trends and research on what is most effective in schools. But another part of that is the environment that we put kids in. And when you have proper 21st century learning environments, kids achieve at higher standards. So a piece of this improvement is certainly in the school committee's wisdom years ago to go to full-day kindergarten. Those are the kids that are testing at the high school now. Before now, the students that went through the high school only had half-day kindergarten. So we're reaping the benefits at the high school level of a wise school committee decision made, 11, 12 years ago. And we're reaping the benefits in middle school and high school because of the buildings and the new facilities we've put kids in. So that sense of teamwork, where mayors have partnered with education and you folks have partnered with utilizing more modern facilities, all brings home some of the recent awards we get. Relative to this year's budget, I would say it's one of our most difficult budgets. It's a budget that is going to is resulting in some losses. We came up short by about $600,000 after we had accurately budgeted everything we could. And $600,000 in cuts had to be made, and there just weren't places like utility accounts and other places that we can squeeze because we've been budgeting so accurately for the past years so that we could get by, that we have no sort of juice anywhere to steal or to wring out. And we've had to go to the point where there are positions not being refilled. We have retirements, we have attrition and people going out on maternity, so we have people moving out, and we're not replacing about 20 people. And part of those non-replacements, there just weren't enough moving out that we couldn't replace. And we have to hire in other areas because of the number of people are. But in the end, when it comes down to the end of the year, we'll probably be 20 people less, with a dozen of those positions just attrition that we didn't fill. And we have some layoffs that we have to do, and we've actually started doing that now so that we can, as you know, we can carry forward money, and it allows us to carry forward money and be in a better position next year. So there are already layoffs in motion in the school department, and there'll be a few more, and then we're not filling positions. But when we look at the total picture of things, it's always problematic when class size increases somewhat, and it will be increasing, especially if we get an increase in enrollment as we have in recent years. That being said, kindergarten enrollment right now, and this may be good news, is tracking behind the numbers of the last 2 years at this time. So we may not be in for another record breaker year as we have been in the past 5 years. Each kindergarten class has been bigger than the next for the last 5 years. This one's tracking a little small, so that in essence can be good news. If it's such that it's smaller, I know principals will be redeploying staff members to those areas that are more crowded. But, you know, in short, thank you for the teamwork approach. I think the whole community benefits from the teamwork approach. We are a more effective school department when we all work together. And we'll get over this blip this year with the allotment, the number that was set by the state. It's just not meaty enough to do everything that we have to do, but hopefully next year we'll be on track.
Councilor Janino.
Thank you. Well, I think that I've always said that we have the best schools in the country, so I think it's amazing that we're finally officially given that title. So I want to first congratulate you because that's such an accomplishment, and I'm so proud of the Revere Public School Systems and that whole department. I'm very proud to be a graduate of it, so very, very, very exciting for everyone, I think, in the city, and something to be very, very proud of. I'm very sad to hear about, anytime you hear the word layoff in a budget, it's something upsetting, especially in the school department, because that is one of the most crucial areas, like police and like fire, even though it's not put up there in public safety. That's the youth of our community. That's the future of our community. So it is one of the most important areas in the community. So, and I know that's by the state, and I know there's really little that we can do, but I hope in the future, you know, if enrollment is decreasing, that there is something that we can do to help prevent that for future budgets. But thank you so much, as always. I'm so proud of the school systems, and I can't congratulate you and your department enough.
Thank you. Councilor Granasso.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Certainly, we had 3 sitting mayors, Mayor Haas, Mayor Ambrosino, and now Mayor Rizzo, who had the foresight and wisdom to go with the ongoing program that was offered out by the superintendent of schools, back then initially led by Carol Ty, and now way back carried on by Paul Dakin. It's certainly testimony to the fact that when we have these new schools, and you don't have to hear some of the comments that I heard for many years being on the council prior to that from constituents saying, oh, you can't go to that school, the roof is leaking, the Parvia School year was coming right through the windows. I know. I went to Parvia School. In my day, it was old and needed help. God knows how much it needed 40, 45 years later. And it's not a good place of learning for our children to have to experience such poor conditions. Now we have done what we had to do. Along with the 3 mayors that we had counselors who saw fit to budget and work with the school department led by the able superintendent Paul Dakin. So it's a testimony to everybody. If you're talking about team play, this is team play, and it came from several different teams. And I served with several different councils in reference to these programs, and I didn't see anybody was objecting to anything. I just think that there were people who had concerns and they had questions, obviously, and it wasn't an easy ride for the superintendent to just go say, we're going to build a new school and here's what we're going to do. I was unhappy with the situation, but you know, you learn to live with it, and you're very pleased to see with some of what you received. And do we want more? Of course we want more. Do we want more for our children? We do. But we had to balance a happy medium here, because there were a lot of senior citizens who were grunting that, hey, we can't afford these new schools. And so we had to be mindful that these new schools and this new ambitious program that was offered out had to be paid for. And we were very fortunate enough that some of them were, we were under the reimbursement of 80%, and some we didn't. But we took advantage of a program, and I think we, when I say we, the superintendent took advantage of a program that was available that made it affordable for our community to get such and endure such an ambitious program. So Everybody in the city of Revere that's had the elected capacity, meaning councilors, school committee people, and mayors who had the courage to stand with the school department and vote for these programs, that's a plus for the constituents out there for electing such people who have the mindset to bring and carry our city forward. And I certainly congratulate you, Superintendent Dakin, that you've done a yeoman's job, and you've done a very credible job to lead our youth in the direction that we're achieving so many different things. You know, and it's only a small testament to what's taken place. We had Revere High School softball team out here earlier for a picture-taking ceremony. That, again, is created by an environment that's created within the school. That's Revere High School kids. The innovative program and the transformation program that selected out of 10,000 applicants, one, City of Revere. Again, it's testimony to everybody. And again, it falls back on the leadership of Superintendent Dakin to make these things happen. And he certainly surrounds himself with highly qualified educators who have the children at mind. And you go to the Port Revere School, and not to give extra tribute to you, Mr. Chairman, your sister, Barbara Kelly, does one heck of a job. And I see on a she's there the first thing in the morning, and I'm going by in the evening at 5 o'clock, and who's coming out the door? Barbara Kelly. And that's what you call dedication. That's someone that's very concerned and shows compassion for the job that she does. And she don't get paid for all those hours. She just has pride in what she's doing. And I think that is carried throughout our community. I see it because I live near the Port Revere School. And that's just one individual showing how much they care for our school children. So, again, it's a reflection of the superintendent and his administration for bringing this forward to us. And all we can say is keep up the good work, and it's a hard thing to do, that keep it on a level that we keep achieving. But you know, there's no horizon out there. We can go get it, and there's no undertaking that we can't take on and win. Thank you for the latitude, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilor Granado. So, Councilor Morabito.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dr. Dakin, how long have you been a superintendent now?
This is finishing year 13 in Revere.
Think of where we were and how far we've come. All the achievements, the new schools. We are now a public school system where people get out of school and get an education degree, a teaching degree, and they want to teach here. They want to teach in the city of Revere. And these accolades and achievement are a credit to your guidance, and I commend you.
In all honesty, it's back to that team approach to things. It really is. The teachers, you know, you can put things out there and you can do research, but it's the hard work of teachers and principals and administrators that get us there. It's a team approach.
Thank you, Councilor Morabito. Councilor Pash.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Paul, I wouldn't expect anything else for you to say about a team approach, because knowing you as long as I have, you've always functioned, not only at Revere High, but other places the same way. Congratulations. And, you know, he mentions, you know, it's also, you know you're doing good when you got people pulling up in buses in the city in the morning, letting kids out to walk to school from other cities. I mean, and you know, you have a great department, investigators there, truant, as we used to call them, the truant officers, that investigate. That's why I hope the people that are listening, it's very easy to spot. You see a car pull up, you see kids pull out, and then they walk to school. I mean, we got to pay. Taxpayers got to pay for that. And it only hurts the kids of Revere. for letting this go on. But I want to commend you for staying on top of it. You have a good crew there that handle that. Also, as you know, with sports comes. I think a lot of sports. I think it's part of the education program, and to see these girls succeed the way they did, it was great. I mean, there I was turning off the Red Sox and putting on the Revere softball game. I never thought I'd do that. But again, congratulations, not to you and for all the teachers and administrators and the union workers there that you have. They do a great job. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilor Patch. I do want to recognize Councilor Reardon there, and Stephen, you got the floor.
Yes, just one comment, Paul. Apparently, one thing about having people come to the city with children from outside the city, it's a reflection of your success. You're a victim of it, I suppose, in that sense. The question I wanted to ask was, and I don't, pardon me if I have to step out of the room and talk to the city solicitor, but I'm just wondering if we have any further updates on our expected enrollment issues going forward. Whether we haven't discussed that in probably about 6 months. I wonder if you have any more information on that.
During this school year, we stayed about even. Literally, hundreds of kids transferred out during the school year, and hundreds transferred in. Close enough in number that it's a wash. The one good piece of news that I had mentioned a little earlier, in tracking kindergarten registrations, right now we're tracking behind the last number of years. So if we assume that people are registering at the same time of the year as they usually did, it could be the case where we get our smallest cohort coming into the district, entering full-day kindergarten, that is smaller than any group in the last few years, which is a signal that maybe we won't be growing in numbers again next year, which would be a good thing.
And just one other question, if I may, Mr. Chairman. What's the status of the current status of our after-school program? Well, I guess financially, is that self-sustaining at this point?
After-school program is takes no city or school money. It has to be self-sustaining, fully paying all of its bills. We offer the buildings, and we train the staff, and we run the program totally on the budget, created from tuitions of parents that want to have their children stay in their school until up to 6 o'clock. It's a very successful program. Right now, we had ramped up as much as we could, and by the time we got to February and March, we had a waiting list. People were wanting to join the program, but we didn't have the capacity to find staff and train them up by then. So we do have a waiting list going into next year. Our goal is to take everybody on the waiting list to offer it as a service. There are huge numbers of people in the community that need this kind of program, and we save them a lot of money. We charge significantly less than other entities that are more corporate in nature. We don't have the overhead of the building, and we train our own staff. So hopefully it will be in a situation that everybody that can afford it has a seat next year.
Thank you, Dr. Dakin. And one more thing, Mr. Chairman, and let me be apparently the last to congratulate you on the award for the high school. It's a credit to your administration, to the programs that you've put in place, and it's a credit especially to the teachers who labor so hard to make the high school and the school system what it is. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Paul, just to follow up on something Councilor Reardon said, the after-school program, I think it's I know it's the week, I'm not sure how many grades. They get a long day. I mean, it's from 7 in the morning until 4.
Yeah, we have after-school program in all the elementaries now. So the elementaries that get out at 2:40 have a program that kids can stay if their parents work on it's a tuition basis. The parents actually pay for that service. Wayland is an elementary school that goes till 4 o'clock anyway. And it still has need, the parents ask, for us to have a program at Wayland that will keep them till 5 or 6 o'clock. Working parents, single parents that are working, they just need a service. Where each elementary school has it now, there's really no downtime. A kid leaves regular school, goes to the after-school program, and is automatically quickly engaged into activities that are, are more light in nature than the school day, but at the same time structured, and so that the same behavioral mores are passed on, and the program works really well.
That's a great thing. I wasn't sure all elementary schools. That's even better than I thought. But I want to commend you also. And the other thing is, you're not one to take accolades. I know it because we'd be spending a lot of time talking about you and giving you different certificates. I mean, last year, I don't know how many people know, because it wasn't mentioned that much, that you got superintendent of the whole state, voted by his colleagues, which I think, to me, when you vote about your colleagues, I mean, that's saying something. And you bring that with the school department. And Councilor Gronowski said something about all these new schools we have. That was probably one of the easiest votes I took in this council, because it was something we couldn't afford not to do, especially with, the way you went and reached out for every penny that's in the state. And Mayor Ambrosino at the time, I gave him a lot of credit. He was involved. I think the first school may have got 90%. Funded for it, and then a couple of 80 and stuff like that. But you deserve a lot of credit for that, and I'm glad you got that award last year, because it, like I said, when your own colleagues give it, it means something. So I want to commend you on that. Keep up the good work, and thank you for coming once again. Thank you.
Thank you, folks. Thanks for being part of the team.
All right, with that being said, Councilor Gronowski, I think Councilor Reardon wasn't here when you said it, but I'll say it briefly that Stephen Ashley is going to, the clerk will send out a letter to anybody, an email, over the next few days if they have any cuts, so she can distribute to the council. And then Monday night, we're going to take the budget up. And if it looks like there's a lot of discussion we need, maybe we'll meet half hour before the council meeting. So with that being said, unless anybody has anything else to say, I'm going to adjourn this, and we'll be back here Monday night. Thank you very much for everything. Thank you. Councilor Janino, Councilor Gronowski, Councilor Morabito, Councilor Reardon, Councilor Patch, thank you. And Ashley, always thank you.